Breaking news.
New survey?
Denver Broncos have signed someone.
And someone that I've referenced over and over again about how Sean Payton can just turn people into good receivers.
Marquez Callaway.
Wow.
Who was an undrafted receiver in 2020. And then in 2021, Sean Payton's final year with the Saints, he was their leading receiver, almost 700 yards on 46 catches and 6 touchdowns. They've signed some guys in the past, including yesterday, Tony Jones Jr., former Saint, of course. Sean Payton just bringing his guys over. Tony Jones, I can't sell you on like being a productive guy. Probably just a backup, might make the team as a third guy, as a special teams
Bad
guy.
news for Latavius Murray, probably.
Yeah, more bad news for
Probably.
Latavius. But Callaway, he's a guy who you can make an argument that he's going to have a role on this team. Is he going to be their number one receiver? No. But could you convince me, and could Sean Payton convince me, if they move on from Jerry Jeudy, if they move on from Courtland Sutton, that this is a guy that they feel comfortable with enough with stepping up and being their third receiver? Absolutely. Sean Payton has proved that he can make Marquez Callaway a good enough receiver, or Marquez Callaway a good enough receiver in his system. So I absolutely think that this is a significant signing.
There's definitely a chance. I think that he fits in pretty perfectly in the wide receiver 4 job. Like, without looking at the special teams, because that's like the one piece that you wonder about. But when you look at Jerry and Courtland and Tim, like, there's a clear number 3. That number 4 spot. So he played 14 games last year, 158 yards. Year before that was the big one.
Without Sean, though.
Definitely.
Last year was without Sean.
Definitely. But again, kind of like probably their wide receiver 5, wide receiver 4, right around there. Year before that was 698.
He was their wide receiver number 1
in terms
that
of yards.
Year. In terms of production. Oh yeah, it's really bad. But Henry, he could easily be a wide receiver number 3.
If you're banking on what he did that season. But the thing is,
with Sean Payton again.
So you look at those numbers, and I was just going through this last night because of the KJ Hamler injury. So last year, I just looked at the AFC West because I'm not looking at every team. So the number 4 receiver for the Chiefs that they brought in this season, Sky Moore, 2nd-round pick. Number 4 receiver for the Chargers when they started the season, Jalen Guyton, who had 950 total yards over the 2 previous seasons combined. The Raiders' number 4 receiver, Keelan Cole, 1,000 yards combined over the previous 2 seasons. And so when you look at Marquez Callaway, and again, it's crazy, I was just writing about this last night, he has a little over 850 or so yards over the last 2 seasons. Again, more disparity for him than those other 2, but he does fit statistically that number 4 role perfectly.
Well, and I think both of you guys can be correct here in the sense of he could be your number 3 if you need him to be. You make that wide receiver trade and he becomes your third receiver. If not, I think it's fair to say he's certainly an upgrade over Kendall Hinton as your number 4.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just saying I think he can bump up to number 3. And
even
Sean
with
Payton,
no roster changes.
No.
Okay.
With a roster change, but it's pretty clear the Broncos have been trying to kind of find a guy to take over if they were to trade one of these guys. Adam Thielen, Alan Lazard. Now I think they got that guy where they're comfortable enough with.
And they've just needed receiver depth. This again just fits that role perfectly. And for what it's worth, the receiver who played the 4th most snaps for the Broncos in every game last year, on average, that was 16% of the offensive snaps. So that's what you expect your number 4 receiver going into the game. Then you throw in one of the top 3 misses a game here or there, and then that bumps up. So if you're number 4, there is a role for you.
It's funny because I think of Sean Payton and I think of like 4 and 5 wide sets being a big part of it.
Yeah.
And yet they just added a big blocking, tight end, and the way they've made moves makes me think we're going to be seeing a lot more like 22 personnel.
Yeah, but I think what you're going to get with Sean is typically, let's say another coach was going to run a lot of big sets. Probably Jerry Jeudy or Courtland Sutton would be on the field 100% of snaps. But I think now you could see them doing more rotations with those guys on the outside and a 4th receiver, seeing a lot more playing time than a typical 4th receiver would.
Yeah. I mean, Jerry last year, I think it was 3 games all season. He played 90% or more of the snaps in a game. So again, like there's plenty for these other guys to eat up. Also, and we've said it over and over again.
It's just going to be a lot different with Sean. I think it's going to be even more rotation.